Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, August 8th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I center myself in love. And if love is too great of a step for you today, work on joy, centering yourself in joy. And if joy is still too big of a step, gratitude is a great gateway to love and joy. So work on gratitude if you can't get yourself to those places. I do want to look at this week ahead just really fast. Thursday the 11th, we have a full moon in Aquarius, and this full moon is reactivating that Mars-Uranus nodal conjunction that we had. Now, Mars has, moved on. Mars is, out of the picture, but we still have Uranus in the North Node working this out. And so in this, we're definitely going to have some fixed cross energy. Crosses always bring crossroad energies. This plus the full moon stuff feels really juicy. So this week, be very aware again, where you are in resistance around stuff. We don't need to get unstuck in painful ways. Noticing your resistance is the first step, and then seeing how you can hold on loosely, right? Start releasing your grip. That's going to be some important work this week, and staying aligned in your values. Very, very important in this astro energy. We're also going to have, which I think is going to make this full moon a little interesting, Venus will be shifting into Leo on Thursday. So we have Venus finishing up in Cancer this week, making a very strong connection today on Monday. But with Venus shifting into Leo, which is lovely and full of love, we're going to have Venus at 0 for that day. So we're going to have that influx of strong Aquarius energy plus Venus at 0. We may not find it as easy to be in our hearts with that energy. And that's still going to be super important. So be aware as we work our way into that. That being said, let's look at today. 8-8. Some people know this as Lionsgate, and usually every year I kind of go off on Lionsgate and how a lot of what you read about it is not actually a thing. And it's interesting because lots of other astrologers have actually gotten onto this bandwagon, so I'm not going to dig into that so much. What I like to utilize for Lionsgate, 8-8, that's cool, right? Let's utilize the 8s. 8, when I look at that from the astrological, numerical, am I making up words? Numerological? I don't even know. Numerology standpoint, astrological numerology standpoint. Let's go for that. 8 corresponds with Saturn, and Saturn is that responsibility energy. It can also represent infinity, because it's an infinity sign sideways. So this to me is an opportunity to be responsible to love. And so that's what I like to focus on with this energy, is where can you step into the infinite power of love within yourself and provide that to yourself, to the universe, and also receive that energy from the universe. So that's my take on Lionsgate for today. Let's dig into the main astro, though, that we are going to be feeling today. We have Venus opposite Pluto, and hopefully you read my write-up for Sunday. We've kind of had this major theme around values that's coming up. It's pushing us in many different places. Let's see, what did we have on Sunday? We had Mars and Saturn that were asking us to really stand up for our value energy. So today, as we have Venus and Pluto, we have even more of that. Venus represents value. Therefore, the signs that Venus rules, Taurus and Libra, can also represent values, right? North Node in Taurus is a focus on our values, which is why at the end I say, honor your values. So we have this energy being really pushed. Venus in Cancer is asking us to value mother energy, nurturing energy, compassion energy. It's asking us to value the flow, the unfolding flow of things. It's asking us to value our intuition. Now, in an opposition, we can have these energies working together. However, sometimes it can feel a little bit like a tug of war. And with Pluto working through Capricorn, we may have a little tug of war between what we value and the powers that be, and the powers, society, the rules, and things. Now, it's so interesting because we just had that Mars-Saturn square. We're still working through that today a little bit. Mars in Taurus, again, representing taking action in regards to our values, and Saturn, which is the main ruler of Capricorn, Saturn representing that society energy. So we're still working through these energies. It's so important to be in your heart, to go to the Leo energy, in your heart about what you value and show up in and for that energy in this. However, with this opposition between Venus and Pluto, you may feel a little tug of war. You may not feel very powerful around that which you value. There's so many ways this can show up. This can show up in money. This can show up around your personal gifts. This can show up in relationships. Venus also represents relationships. This may show up in self-care versus how we're called to show up in society at this time, you know? And so be very aware of this and see again where you can come back to your center, to the gratitude, to the love, to the joy. But just realize that this may feel a little stretchy to you. This opposition is not going to reach its exact opposition until 10:18 p.m. So this is one that we're going to be feeling building. And a lot of times when Pluto is working us, I feel so exhausted. And I get that from a lot of people. So be aware if that exhaustion comes up. And that may, again, just be kind of a symptom of all that society is asking for from us, that takes away from our ability to truly care for ourselves. I always like to point out that Cancer energy really is like mother energy, nurturing energy. And it's so important to have this energy figured out a little bit before we go into Leo, where we engage the inner child. We need to know how to be that parent, how to show up, how to cover our basic needs. But again, in this opposition, we may be feeling how that's hard, the way the world is currently. And so our work is standing in our power and standing in, hopefully, the value of the care that you need in and through this. But be aware of that, like I said, as we build. Now, what's also feeding in today that's very interesting is we have the Sun and Chiron working together in a trine. It's a very supportive connection. But the Sun is lighting up that Chiron healing energy, Chiron and Aries, healing of the self. So while today can have a kind of healing umbrella, which is beautiful in and through with this opposition, we need to be really aware of how we are being called to show up in love, in healing ourselves as we move through this. So really, really powerful. We also have the moon shifting today. We have the moon shifting out of Sagittarius into Capricorn. That's going to happen at 11:39 a.m. Now again, with a lunar shift, a lot of times our energies can kind of take a dip. So today may be one of those little energetically dippy days. So be aware of that. Moon in Capricorn asks us to align with our responsibility. How are you responding to the world? You are able to respond to the world in a way that is true to yourself, true to your soul. That's the highest level of Capricorn, but it usually takes a little bit to get there. So be aware of that energy. And again, be aware you may be feeling that pressure or some power struggle with showing up the way the world has been versus showing up in a way that we want to create new world energy, right? Final little thing to notice. It's so funny. Oftentimes I go backwards, but I like to start at the big thing and then go into the other things. The final thing to notice today is as the moon is finishing up in Sagittarius, it will connect with Neptune. Probably some interesting dreams. Been having really fascinating dreams. But again, we may feel some challenge in this square between the moon and Neptune, between what we're seeing and this divine plan that we're moving through. So be aware that you may feel a little like, yeah, off kilter, and that may show up in dream time. So let's look at these cards. In the flow is the top of the cards. That really feels like that Venus in Cancer energy. And we're in the flow, creating change ultimately as we step into greater nurturing energy. But this card, the Empress, creativity card in this deck, but Empress traditionally, it's in reverse. So we're kind of feeling challenged in this. You know, we haven't really reached that flow. Rightfully, we have the breakthrough. So we're going to have some breakthrough around this, but chances are it's going to require you to step into that energy to break through in this energy. Final card that we have is so Plutonic. Got a little Plutonic colonic, the Thunderbolt card, not necessarily fun. I should mention all like early 80s babies are going through some semblance of like Pluto squares, which are really challenging. And I think a lot of us are going to be feeling this. This Thunderbolt card is in reverse, so it may be old stuff that's coming back around, cycling around to be worked through, but be very aware of any power struggle energy coming up for you in this. So I'm going to leave this here. If you are checking in, Joe is home. He is healing. It's going to be a long road. Continued thoughts and prayers and good wishes are very welcomed. Besides that, excuse me, you can book a reading. I've had a few people message me for readings. I've been slow at getting back to you. Joe has a lot of doctor's appointments that I'm going to have to take him to. His right leg is broken and it is hard for him to drive, or he is unable to drive rather than it's hard for him. So I'm going to have to, you know, put them in places. So if I'm taking a while to get back to you, I promise you it won't be that long. I'm just trying to figure out my schedule. So you can book a reading. I will schedule you when I can. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.